How to play the Crimson King structure deck. So to start off, obviously, you need to take out everyone's king. Make sure that this card is not in your deck because it cannot be used in a duel. So the first thing to note is that the Crimson King is, of course, a synchro-based deck. It's based around the Red Dragon Synchro Monsters. So as with any synchro deck, the main deck monsters can be separated into two groups, that being the tuners and the non-tuners. So first of all, let's take a look at the tuners. The main tuner monsters that we have in this deck are, of course, the Resonator Monsters. This deck runs off of a Resonator engine, and therefore the Resonators are the best tuner monsters in this deck. So out of the Resonators, the best ones that we actually want are Soul Resonator, Vision Resonator, and of course Crimson Resonator. These are the best Resonator monsters that come with this deck, and probably the best Resonators overall, to be honest. The rest of them aren't as good. Red Resonator and Synchro Resonator are both good extenders for the deck. Creation Resonator is just a worse version of Synchro Resonator, and Dark Resonator doesn't extend or anything, he just stays on the field for a turn, which is kind of good, well, maybe a turn if you're lucky, for one attack, which isn't bad, but it is the worst of the group that comes with them. So these are the main ones that you want. Now, what you're going to be going for is your Soul Resonator. This is the key card in the deck, because with its effect, when it is normal or special summoned, you can add one level 4 or lower fiend monster from your deck to your hand. This effect is absolutely insane and makes this card the best opener in your deck, so you absolutely want to have this card. So, how do we get this card? Well, luckily, our Resonator cards come with a few extensions of their own, namely Resonator Call. Resonator Call is a fantastic card that adds any Resonator monster from your deck to your hand. So with Resonator Call, we almost always are going to be going for Soul Resonator, assuming that it's an option. So before we go into what to do with Soul Resonator, let's briefly talk about Crimson Resonator and Vision Resonator. These cards are fantastic extenders. So with your Crimson Resonator, ideally you want this guy in the graveyard. Reason is so that we can special summon him with the effect of Red Rising Dragon. When Red Rising Dragon is synchro summoned, you can target a Resonator monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So we use Red Rising to special summon our Crimson Resonator from the graveyard. Now of course you can normal or special summon Crimson Resonator by its own effect as well, but once it's on the field you can use his best effect, which will allow you to special summon 2 Resonator monsters from your hand or deck. This is extremely powerful and gives us 2 more tuners on our field. So the ones that we'll be summoning with that effect, assuming that you have already summoned your Soul Resonator, you'll normally go for your Vision Resonator and either your Red Resonator or your Synchro Resonator, or just, well, any Resonator really. It depends on the levels that you want. But Vision Resonator is an absolute must. So Vision Resonator has a very powerful effect that when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one spell or trap that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend from your deck to your hand. This card is one of the best searches in the deck. Obviously, you just have him on the field, tune him with one of your other monsters into a synchro summon, and then he'll go to the graveyard, triggering its effect, getting you any Red Dragon Archfiend spell or trap from your deck. So that's the Resonator engine. Soul Resonator gets you your level 4, Crimson Resonator gets you 2 more Resonators. Absolutely fantastic. We'll talk more about Soul Resonator in a second, but first let's go on to the Resonator Support. So like I said already, Resonator Call, one of the best cards in the deck, adds any Resonator from your deck to your hand, and it's not even a hard once per turn at all, so it is fantastic card. Next up we have Resonator Engine. This card targets 2 Resonators in your graveyard, adds a level 4 monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, you can return the targets in your graveyard to your deck. This is great for recycling Resonators into your deck, allowing you to use Crimson Resonator's effect more, but it also, of course, gets us a level 4 monster from our deck, which is great. Next up we also have Resonator Command, a similar thing. Discard a Resonator monster to add one level 4 or lower fiend monster from your deck to your hand. Keep in mind this is level 4 or lower, so you can actually use this to add one of your Resonators, mainly your Soul Resonator if you don't already have him. But it can also be used to add one of your level 4s to go into a synchro summon later. Okay, next let's talk about Vision Resonator. When Vision Resonator is sent to the graveyard, it adds one spell or trap that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend from your deck to your hand. In this deck, you have 4 options for doing that. You can add Red Zone, Fiendish Golem, Absolute Power Force, or Crimson Gaia. The best card that you want to add with this effect is, of course, Crimson Gaia. With Crimson Gaia's effect, during your main phase, you can add one Red Dragon Archfiend or one card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except for Crimson Gaia. So with this effect, if you use your Vision Resonator to grab your Crimson Gaia, you can then immediately use Crimson Gaia to grab any of your other Red Dragon Archfiend spell or traps. The second best one will probably be Red Zone. Red Zone has a very powerful effect to destroy your opponent's cards when they activate a card effect while you control Red Dragon Archfiend. This is a fantastic continuous trap, very, very powerful. The other best option is of course Fiendish Golem, which banishes one of your opponent's monsters with 2000 or more attack. This is fantastic for getting rid of any of your opponent's best monsters, and then it also sets a Fiendish Chain from your deck, which is a great card for negating card effects. But like I said, main card will be Red Zone, and then Fiendish Golem as a second option. Absolute Power Force can be good for an OTK, but it is not the best card in the deck, so definitely prioritize these two or these three over that one. Okay, before we go into our non-tuner monsters, we have a couple more tuners to look at: Fire Ant Ascator and Phantom Knight High Ride. These cards are definitely not as good as the Resonator tuners, but they can be good in combination with the right monster. Phantom King Hybrid is a great card that it can be a tuner monster, but you can also treat it as a non-tuner, which makes it a bit more versatile than most tuners are. And Fire Ant Ascator on its own is not good, but we'll look into how it plays into this deck a little bit soon. Whatever, it makes sense to me. Alright, now let's go back to Soul Resonator. Soul Resonator's effect: when it's summoned, you can add one level 4 or lower fiend from your deck to your hand. So the question is, which card will you be adding? Well, as with any Synchro deck, we've got to look at the Synchro Monsters. The question is, which card will you be summoning? So first you look at your extra deck and work out which card to summon. The main one you're going to be going for is your Red Rising Dragon. This is the best Synchro monster in the deck. Well, not the best, but the best one to play first. With its effect, it will get back one of your Resonators, mainly your Crimson Resonator. We'll talk about how to get that in the graveyard in a second, and that will allow you to go into more Synchro plays, allowing you to extend off of your Red Rising and your Crimson Resonator. So the next best options are, of course, your level 8s. You've got the classic Red Dragon Archfiend, Starlight Red Dragon Archfiend, and Scar Red Dragon Archfiend. These are all great level 8 Synchro monsters. Also keep in mind that all three of these cards, when they're on the field, are treated as Red Dragon Archfiend, meaning they work with effects that activate when you have Red Dragon Archfiend on the field, such as with Red Zone. Finally, you've got some bigger ones in here: Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. These cards are a little bit bigger, being level 9, 10, and 12 respectively. These are very powerful cards and some of your best boss monsters that you want to go into using the Red Rising Dragon strategy. You can level up your Synchro monsters and basically just keep leveling up until you get into one of these three. The other best Synchro monsters in the deck, your final boss monsters, are of course Red Nova Dragon and Red Supernova Dragon, both of these being level 12s. So now that we know what levels our monsters are, we know what cards we want in our hand and on our field. So the main ones we're going for is level 6 and level 8, and then we use these to extend up into the higher levels. So whether you're going into level 6 or level 8, the best card in this deck to add with Soul Resonator's effect is Bone Archfiend. Bone Archfiend is absolutely insane. It is probably the best extender in this deck, and it is really, really amazing. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can send one other card from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon this card. That already makes it really great with a Synchro deck. You summon a tuner, special summon your Bone Archfiend, right away you've got level 7. But 7's not quite right, is it? So, luckily, Bone Archfiend has another fantastic effect. You can target one face-up monster you control that has a level, send one Fiend tuner from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, increase or decrease that monster's level by 1. That is obviously really, really good. So, the strategy here is to summon your Soul Resonator, add Bone Archfiend, discard a card to special summon your Bone Archfiend, and then with Bone Archfiend's effect, you can send your Crimson Resonator from your hand or deck to the graveyard to decrease his level by 1. That makes him a level 3, Soul Resonator level 3. We then tune these up to special summon our level 6 Red Rising Dragon, whose effect will then activate, allowing us to summon our Crimson Resonator, and then we can use Crimson Resonator's effect to go into 2 more Resonator monsters. Right off the bat, that gives us a lot of tuning power on the field. Immediately, we can use our Vision Resonator and our Red Rising Dragon to go straight into one of our level 8 Synchro Monsters, such as your Red Dragon Archfiend. And that will again trigger Vision Resonator's effect to add Crimson Guard to your hand, which will then grab your red zone. Right off the bat, this is already a fairly decent field, but you could extend it even more depending on what you've got on the field. You could go into a level 10 using these two, or a level 9 using these two, or instead of Red Dragon Archfiend, you could go into something else to allow you to special summon more Synchro Monsters. It's pretty insane. We'll go into all of the combos for this deck in another video, so if you want to see all of that, then leave a comment down below and stick around. But before we go further, also, something else you need to absolutely check out is the new Crimson King merch, Pulse of the King collection on the Senkara shop. Go to senkara.myspreadshop.com to get this epic Jack Atlas merch that was designed by me. You will only find it on my shop, and I've made it specially for this deck. It is really, really cool, and I'm very happy with how it turned out, so I'd very much appreciate it if you could at least check it out and see if there's anything you want to buy. You can get any of these new designs on all of my products. Simply go to the Customize tool, and you can add any design to any product that you want, even if it doesn't already show on that product. So thank you for that. If you check it out, that would be fantastic. Let me know. And if you buy one, even better. Thank you so much. All the money goes straight into the YouTube, and I really appreciate it. So that's the main combo of the Red Dragon Archfiend deck. The rest of the cards are just more extenders to help you get into that. So let's take a look at them. We have a level 3 Magical King Moonstar. Being level 3, that makes it a lot easier to go into your Red Rising Dragon. If you get this card out along with one of your level 3s, that's already 6 levels. Plus, if you control a tuner monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, making him an excellent extender. You'll find that most of the cards in this deck will allow you to special summon them from the hand, which makes them really, really good with the tuners. So same goes for our level 4 Wandering King Wild Wind. If you control a Fiend tuner with 1500 or less attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. Fantastic. If you have a level 2 Resonator, special summon this guy, you already have 6 levels right off the bat. Next for our level 4s, of course, we have Danger Chupacabra. Dangers are a great engine to have in a lot of decks. You can reveal this card, your opponent then selects a random card in your hand and you discard it. If you don't discard the danger monster that you reveal, you can special summon that danger and draw a card. So this not only helps you cycle through your deck, but it also gets you out a level 4 potentially, hopefully, which will allow you to then go into more synchro plays. Next, one of our best level 4s is of course Red Sprinter. When this card is normal or special summoned while you control no other monsters, you can special summon a level 3 or lower Fiend tuner from your hand or graveyard. Red Sprinter is a great extender if you get this card out and you have no other way to get out a level 4 or lower, or just anything to tune with one of your tuners. You summon Red Sprinter and he'll get out your tuner for you, which is fantastic. The final level 4s we have are Witch of the Black Forest and Assault Beast. Witch of the Black Forest isn't fantastic, however she can get any of the monsters that you need for your plays if she's sent to the graveyard. And Assault Beast is Assault Mode support, and as I've already stated in the unboxing video, Assault Mode isn't that great, so I wouldn't base a deck around it, but if you have it, you have it, and that's always good. Next, let's talk about our level 5s. We have Vice Dragon, which is one of the best extenders in this deck. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, but its original attack and defense are halved. This gives us a level 5 on the field, then we just need a level 3 tuner, and we can go into any of our level 8s. Same goes for Ascator the Dawnwalker. This is also a great card. First of all, you can special summon this card by discarding one card from your hand to put this card in defense position. Then you can special summon a Fire Ant Ascator from your hand or deck. This immediately gives you a tuner and a non-tuner whose levels equal 8. So this card alone is a level 8 Synchro Monster, which makes it a very, very good addition to this deck, allowing you to get out any of your main Red Dragon Archfiend monsters. Absolutely fantastic right there, even if it is just used by the enemy and by the Dark Signers, which makes it not great for the deck, but it's definitely good for Red Dragon Archfiends. Red Warg is a level 6 extender, very good. If you have this card and a level 2 tuner, you can go into your level 8s. Same goes for Danger Nessie, same reason, great card. Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode is probably the worst card in this deck. It's definitely you know, it's not good. I would probably rather just have a Red Dragon Archfiend, to be honest, but it can definitely have its uses if you can get it out. Finally, for our level 1s, we have Absolute King Backjack, Battle Fader, and Psy Reflector. Psy Reflector is our level 1 tuner, which can make it somewhat useful, but not really. It's probably one of the worst cards in the deck. All of these cards are not fantastic. Battle Fader can help you live. This is a tuner, of course, and Absolute King Backjack has a graveyard effect that works with trap cards, which we do have a lot of in this deck, but overall, these cards aren't that fantastic. To wrap this up, we have a few more spells and traps. King Synchro sounds like a great card, can be used on our opponent's turn. However, it only activates when your opponent's monster declares an attack against a Synchro monster you control, which isn't that likely to happen, but otherwise can definitely be a great card. Would set it if I had it. Fiendish Chain is fantastic for negating effects, and of course can be added with the effect of Fiendish Golem, which allows you to thin out your deck and just, you know, it's great, so why wouldn't you have it? Terrors of the Overroot is a relatively new card, and honestly, it's debatable whether or not this card is good. A lot of people like it, a lot of people don't. It's a bit situational. For this deck, I wouldn't call it fantastic, but it can be very good for getting rid of one of your opponent's cards, as well as getting an important card from their graveyard out of their graveyard. So if they need something in the graveyard, you can take it out and get rid of something on their field. Assault Mode Activate is of course used to summon Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode. Not great, but we have it. Time to Stand Up is one of the better cards in this deck. If a Dragon Synchro monster is on the field, you can special summon up to 2 Resonator monsters from your deck. This essentially makes it a trap version of Crimson Resonator and is a very good extender. Unfortunately, it's a trap card. Powerful Rebirth is not as good, but it allows you to bring back a level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard and increase its level by 1, which makes it a lot easier to go into our level 8 Synchro monsters. Burning Soul is good for getting a card back from your graveyard, but it's also good for interrupting your opponent's plays by synchro summoning on their turn, as this is a quick play spell. If you set it for a turn, you can activate it on your opponent's turn and immediately go into a synchro summon. Red Rain is another fantastic card for the Red Dragon Archfiend deck. If you control a level 8 or higher synchro monster, banish all monsters on the field except monsters with the highest level. Also, the remaining monsters face up on the field are unaffected by card effects. This is absolutely insane and is a fantastic trap for just clearing the board. Just make sure that you have the highest level monster before you activate it. Finally, this deck comes with a Pot of Extravagance. Extravagance can be a bit risky in this deck, especially if you've only got one of the deck and one extra deck. You definitely must be very careful with this card, as you don't want to accidentally banish your Red Rising Dragon, which could definitely happen, and that makes Pot of Extravagance a little too risky for this deck since it is a random banish from your extra deck. But otherwise, draw 2 is always good, and if you've already got your Red Rising play done, then you can use Extravagance to go into further plays after that. So that wraps up this video. That's all you need to know about how to play the Crimson King structure deck. I hope this video was very helpful to you all. If you want to know combos for this deck, then stick around, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment to let me know. Next episode, we'll be looking into how to combine 3 of this deck into one very, very powerful Red Dragon Archfiend Resonator deck, and after that, we'll be looking into the combos that you can pull off with just 1 copy of this deck, and the combos that we're going to be focusing on with 3 copies of this deck. So if you want to see all of that, be sure to stick around, subscribe for more, but otherwise, let me know if this video was helpful to you. Thank you all so very much for watching. Check out the Jack Atlas merch if you're a fan of Jack Atlas, or if you're a fan of Red Dragon Archfiend. I'm hoping to have a couple Red Dragon Archfiend designs up there soon as well. But thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Senkara, and until next time, see ya.